This is the story of a £100 million tunnel for bats. This is the Sheephouse Wood bat mitigation structure. It's commonly referred to as the Bat Tunnel, but it should probably be known as the Lawyer Tunnel because ultimately that's what it's here to mitigate. It's essentially a gigantic, kilometre-long, £120 million insurance policy. So how did it come to be? How did this massive structure get here? Why was it built? And why was I hiking through a dangerous forest to reach it? In recent years, I've taken to gardening, and after building an elaborate wildlife pond that usually looks a lot better than this, I discovered that bats were visiting. My friend and I like to watch them during our male bonding time. Is that a bat? Nah. But I worried that they didn't have anywhere to live, and so I went into my man cave and spent the evening playing with my wood. Soon I had built a rudimentary bat residence, following instructions from a custom bat chatbot I created called BatGPT. I placed it on a sheltered south-facing wall with at least 6 hours of daylight and waited for the bats to move in. But something was wrong. Despite equipping the bat box with mood lighting and 10 gigabits Ethernet connectivity, the bats were nowhere to be seen. It occurred to me that the box wasn't very spacious. Perhaps I needed something bigger. So I asked BatGPT to point me to the biggest and best bat structure in Britain, and therefore probably the world. But the numbers that it came up with made no sense. How could a bat box be a kilometre long, and what was it doing in Buckinghamshire? I needed to see this mysterious structure for myself, but getting there would be a bigger challenge than I thought. I reached the outer limits of Buckinghamshire in record time, only to find the roads in an absolute state. Well, I can't wait to find out what failed road service means. Everywhere I turned, the roads were subsiding or disintegrating. I mean, it's not ideal. After a long, wet winter, road after road was failing, and the council was struggling to find the hundreds of millions of pounds required to fix them. Helpfully, they've drawn chalk outlines around them like miniature crime scenes. No. So many roads were closed, I was beginning to wonder if I could even reach the Bat Tunnel. That's failed as well. This is bonkers. This is absolutely bonkers. I was grateful that I'd come in a robust and practical car made by Land Rover. But my journey to Sheephouse Wood wasn't over. I would have to hike several miles across forbidding farmland to reach it. The signs gave mixed signals. How had a man managed to fall onto an arrow? And why were there literally skeletons draped in the bushes? I knew that Buckinghamshire was a dark place, but it was only now that I began to realise the danger I was in. Alone and unarmed, except for a heavy tripod and my YouTube creator certificate. This is one of the most inhospitable environments that I've encountered since making these films. There are no farm shops, no country pubs. It's been nearly 25 minutes since I left the car and I'm down to my last pork pie. Eventually I reached Sheephouse Wood, the lair of the Bechstein bat. Sheephouse Wood is a site of special scientific interest, and it's the home of the Bechstein bat, a bat which is ugly even by the standards of other bats which are notoriously ugly. Bechstein bat is an endangered species in large part because it needs ancient woodlands like this to survive in, and these kinds of woodlands have been in steady decline for generations now. Although I'm a keen lover of wildlife, some of the information on BatGPT was concerning, so I decided to take precautions. In most of England, humans have the upper hand, but this is bat territory, a land fraught with danger. Luckily, I brought protection. With £3.60's worth of garlic from the Tesco Express, I felt confident to proceed, but where was this gigantic structure? In fact, it was closer than I realised. Holy crap. I had reached the Sheephouse Wood bat mitigation structure. It's been under construction by HS2 for at least 2 years now, and what makes it truly remarkable is that nobody ever wanted or intended to build it. It may well be one of the largest accidental structures ever created. The size of this structure is monumental. It's extraordinary. I don't think I can do it justice. It's 1 kilometre long, and it towers over the forest. The Bat Tunnel will be 1,000 metres long when it's finished, the length of 3 shards laid end to end, or the mall in front of Buckingham Palace. It's wide enough to span 4 tracks and made of rows of arches 10 metres high, each made from 2 curved segments weighing up to 20 tonnes each. Hundreds of these segments are brought in by HGVs, then lifted into place by 2 cranes each. The gaps in between will be filled with a brown mesh. The idea is to stop bats from colliding with trains by directing them through channels that run under or over the tunnel, which will feature a green bridge at one end. The cost of this structure is hard to calculate, but estimates range from between £90 to £120 million. It's incredible. It doesn't matter how many drone shots of it I've seen, or how many times I've seen it from a distance. Up close to this thing, it's bonkers. So how did it come to be? Back in 2012, HS2 worked with local groups to survey bat crossings along the edge of Sheephouse Wood. They found one of the most northern colonies of Bechstein bats in the UK. The Conservation of Habitats and Species Regulations 2017 put strong protections on bats, so strong in fact that if HS2 design put even a single one of the estimated 300 Bechstein bats in Sheephouse Wood at risk, it would likely be rejected by Natural England. That immediately ruled out most of the more reasonable protections like a looser netting structure or simple barriers. Instead, HS2 had a choice. They could spend tens of millions of pounds on the Rolls-Royce of bat protection structures, or face losing even more than that through delays or legal battles. But the problems didn't stop there, because by 2023 Buckinghamshire Council had become involved, fiercely opposing the scheme and requesting further changes to the design and appearance of the structure, like asking for the mesh to be in a nice rusty brown colour. This delayed the project for another year, as the expected cost rose from £40 million to around £100 million. The result is a crazily over-designed bat tunnel that ironically may not even help the bats that much, since there's little evidence that the mesh will actually be effective. The entire project is essentially a massively expensive insurance policy, a down payment to remove any risk that the project might be delayed or halted later on. The Bat Conservation Trust, Britain's leading bat charity, has an annual budget of around £3 million. The cost of this structure could have paid for that for multiple generations, or funded the regeneration and protection of habitats across southern England. Meanwhile, far from civilization, I was growing increasingly nervous. My research on BatGPT had thrown up a number of disturbing facts about these creatures. For now it seems safe, but one false move could attract a bloodthirsty creature of the night. Pushing my luck, I attempted to deliver another incompetently framed piece to camera. Oh shit, I've got a nosebleed. Disaster had struck. Bats can sense human blood from up to 10 miles away, and I was now a walking beacon. I consulted YouTube support for content creators, but they had little advice to offer in this situation. Oh, bollocks. I was on my own, in mortal peril. Luckily, I remained calm. I had escaped, but it was a reminder that however easy Chris Spargo makes it look, YouTubing in the wild is incredibly dangerous and should not be attempted by amateurs.
They It's a blue for cheese and onion, green for salt and vinegar.
I'm pretty sure they evaporate in sunlight. The sheep house wood bat protection structure isn't the main reason that HS2 has become so expensive, or even one of the biggest reasons, but it's the perfect example of how a legalistic and risk-averse bureaucracy with a severe case of tunnel vision can lead to bizarre outcomes. It's good that we want to protect bats, but if we wanted to spend £100 million doing so, there are far better ways that the money could be spent. The construction alone is probably just as disruptive to the environment, and this project has consumed vast amounts of time, energy, and money in its 14-year journey to completion. Meanwhile, this gleaming monument is rising in a field surrounded by decay. The locals in Buckinghamshire are so poor that they can't afford proper roofs, and the roads are literally falling apart. The money spent on this edifice could have fixed most of them, and residents must be wondering where exactly they sit in the government's priorities. And that's not the only thing they were wondering. Oh no, it's fine. I make short-form documentaries about infrastructure. No, it's good. I'm good. Have a good day.